Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Thursday, March 16th slate of NBA action. Super excited to dive into it. We do have a pretty decent slate of NBA on as of today, and I can't be more excited to dive into it. Unfortunately, we did not have the greatest day yesterday. Finished up by going 1-2 on the day. Definitely nothing to gloat about. We had a little bit of a rough day, but I will say that one of the losses was actually pretty close. So, it is what it is. But regardless, before we go ahead and dive into that, I did just want to go ahead and say that we are still currently on the road to 12,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do. And thank you guys so much for giving me such a small channel, such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me. So much more than you guys will ever know. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into a quick recap as of yesterday. But before we did that, actually, one more thing. I did go ahead and post a college basketball video as of today as well. I posted it a little bit ago. It'll still be on my channel. I'll go ahead and put the link up here at the end of the video too. You'll be able to just click on it. So that way you can go ahead and do that as well. But I just wanted to go ahead and say that it is going to be on there as well. So make sure that if you guys are interested in college basketball and in March Madness, because it is now finally time for March Madness, make sure you guys do check out that video too if you guys want a little something extra to bet on. But regardless, now without any further ado, let's dive into a recap as of yesterday. Like I said, we ended up going 1-2 on our plays. So we did have our one win. We had Steph Curry over 27.5 points versus the Clippers. Dropped 50. Really no sweat whatsoever. This one ended up working out really easily. Then we had the other close loss that we had. Zach LaVine over 27.5 points. He really didn't shoot the ball very well, but he did still finish with 25 points. And I'm sure you guys have seen it if you guys have been on Twitter or Instagram or any sort of social media. De'Aaron Fox ended up hitting a game-winning three that would have, if he would have missed it, would have sent it into overtime. And who knows? I'm sure Zach LaVine could have gotten 3 points in overtime. But it is what it is. Regardless, that's no excuse. He should have hit it in regulation, but unfortunately he finishes right with 25. Then we had Memphis and Miami under 220 at -110. This was looking really solid in the first half, like extremely solid. We had a couple points to give, and then all of a sudden in the second half, the Miami Heat just went on a ballistic run. Like, they went on a crazy run, ended up winning by 20 and dropped over 130 points in that game. So really, in all seriousness, Memphis's defense just kind of gave up. It was definitely not ideal, but regardless, we ended up losing that one. So we ended up going 1-2 on our plays though. And so as I'm going to be doing the same thing as I did last week. If I end up having a losing week from now up until Monday, I will be giving away $50 here on the channel. So make sure that if you guys want a chance to win that, make sure that you guys are subbed. But we are going to be diving into today's plays. I have 3 plays. Hopefully we can have a winning day. Hopefully we can even bring out the brooms. That'd be pretty nice. But without any further ado, let's dive into it. Our first play of the day, we're going with Mikal Bridges over 25.5 points here versus the Sacramento Kings. Now, I like this play for a couple different reasons here. I'll be completely honest. Mikal Bridges, as we know, he has been an absolute unit. There's no question about that. He's been really solid. He has gone over in 5 out of his last 7 games, and he's had a very solid role here with the Brooklyn Nets. He's been very good since he has been traded there. And the thing that I like the most is, no matter what, you're pretty much guaranteed 20-plus shots a night here from Mikal Bridges. Outside of him and Spencer Dinwiddie, they really don't have a ton of scorers on this team. And Mikal Bridges, he has really stepped up into being that main scorer and to being really the star of this Brooklyn Nets team. And I really love what he is doing over there in Brooklyn. But not to mention, the Kings also do allow the 9th most points per game to opposing shooting guards in the last 15. So kind of the same reason that we took Zach LaVine as of yesterday. We're going back to it again here with Mikal Bridges. Not to mention, the Kings are on the second leg of a back-to-back to my Chicago Bulls. And in the last 5 back-to-back games that they have had, they have given up an average of 138 points per game. That's a pretty good chunk of change there. I think that does show that on the second leg of a back-to-back, there's some teams that it doesn't really affect, and there's some that it does. And I think this Kings team is one team that it does affect. They give up a ton of points. They give up the 3rd most points per game to opposing teams, and they are also the 10th fastest pace in all of basketball. So you're talking about a team that gives up a lot of points. You're talking about a team that is extremely fast-paced on the second leg of a back-to-back, and having to travel. I just don't love the spot here for him. I do think that Mikal Bridges can get at least 26. I think that honestly, if you wanted to ladder it up to 30, I think that's a really safe bet as well. I think that the Brooklyn Nets actually win and cover this one, and it is going to be in the hands of Mikal Bridges. So that is going to be our first official play of the day. Mikal Bridges over 25.5 points here versus the Sacramento Kings. So for our second official play of the day, we are going to be taking Fred VanVleet under 20.5 points here versus the OKC Thunder at minus 120 odds. Now, I like this one for a couple different reasons. He's coming off of an absolute monster game last game. He had an insane game last game where he ended up dropping 36 points versus the Denver Nuggets. I think that he does go back down to earth today. I think that he does slow that down, and I think that we see a little bit more of a usual role here from Fred VanVleet. He has gone under in 8 out of his last 12 games, 67%. I'll definitely take my odds with that one for sure. And he has only gone over 2 times in his entire career versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. And there's so many ways that this one could go under. I know that the Thunder have been really good at covering in basketball games. And last time they played the Toronto Raptors, they actually ended up winning by like 20 points. They ended up blowing out this Raptors team. So there's so many different ways that this one could go under. But the thing that I do like about this one most is Fred VanVleet, we all know, he shoots a ton of threes. Okay, he shoots the ball a ton. And with this Oklahoma City team, their main defensive flaw, I guess you could say, is their paint defense. So with that being said, Fred VanVleet sees a little bit of a disadvantage because a lot more guys like Pascal Siakam, a lot of guys like Jakob Poeltl, a lot of guys like OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, a lot of those guys that are more inside players, they're going to see the advantages here. Not guys like Gary Trent, not guys like Fred VanVleet, guys that shoot a bunch of threes. It's going to be more so some of these slashers, and I think that we see a lot of that here today. I think that we see big games from Siakam. I think we see big games from Poeltl. I think we see pretty big game from Scotty Barnes, but I just think that Fred VanVleet, this is not a spot that you do want to target. Fred VanVleet also, his shots are kind of all over the place. He had a ton of them last game. He had over 20 shot attempts. He hasn't done that in a long time before that. So I just think that Fred VanVleet does come back down to earth today. So that is going to be our second official play of the day. Fred VanVleet under 20.5 points here versus OKC at minus 120 odds. Now for our third and final play of the day, we're going to be taking the Orlando Magic plus 7 here versus the Phoenix Suns at minus 110 odds. Now I know the Phoenix Suns have been really, really good. They're a good team. There's no doubting that. But they are without Kevin Durant, and that does take away a ton of depth from this Phoenix Suns team, and I think that it is going to affect them overall. Orlando is 18-15-1 against the spread on the road this year, so they are more profitable than not when it does come on the road, and 17-13-1 against the spread as a road dog, which, you know, they're the road dog in a lot of these situations, but anytime that they are a very good team to bet on. Not to mention Phoenix, they have kind of struggled over the last couple games. They have not covered in 3 straight games. Now, they were against very solid opponents. They were against Milwaukee Bucks, Golden State Warriors, and the Sacramento Kings, who have been absolutely just killing it here recently. But I think that this is a spot that the Phoenix Suns do kind of overlook their opponent in this situation. I think that they see, oh, we're playing against the Orlando Magic. I think that we're going to kind of slow this game back. But not to mention, the Magic have been a really good cover team here recently. They have covered in 2 out of their last 3 games here they've covered in 2 straight games here versus the Phoenix Suns, and they have covered in 3 out of their last 4. They've done a really good job of covering against the Phoenix Suns, and I think that we see that once again. It's a really good matchup overall. I think that these teams actually match up a lot better than a lot of people think. Wendell Carter Jr. is fully healthy once again, so this team is pretty much 100%. I know Franz Wagner had an injury a couple nights ago, but he's back to like 27 to 29 minutes last game, so he should be back up in the 30-minute range as well. I do like his over for points too, if you guys did want a little bit of a pivot instead of just taking the Magic spread. But regardless, I do think that this is a really good spot here, so we're going to be riding with it here for our third and final play of the day. Magic plus 7 here versus Phoenix at minus 110 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we have already posted a college basketball video here for today, so make sure you guys do go ahead and check it out. I will go ahead and have a little link to it here up in the top right so you guys can click on it, but it will also be on the channel, so just in case if something does happen, it will also be on the channel as well, so make sure you guys do check that out. But that is going to do it for me. This is King Center signing out. Peace.